In the year 2000, we started a small nonprofit outreach in Joplin, Missouri called Watered Gardens. We focused on individuals coming through our doors and frankly, didn't give much thought to broader issues like systems and policies. After all, like many of you, we were about helping people. Soon enough, we learned systems outside the individual and outside our city influenced those we cared for. Often that influence was negative. Here's a case in point. Michael was abused as a kid, struggled with alcoholism. Although he'd experienced long periods of sobriety when he was with us, the temptation to drink never left. When he learned he could qualify for food stamps, he enrolled in the SNAP program. Not long after, we heard the tragic news that he had died from alcohol poisoning. We were shocked and saddened. He had done really well in our program and seemed to be on a track for long-term recovery. Desperate to understand what happened on the last day of his life, I began asking others at the mission questions. One man confessed, "I was with Michael when he sold his food stamps. He used the cash to buy alcohol." Michael didn't need food stamps. We knew that because we were close to him and helped him with his basic needs. It was a case where welfare policy, responsible for the indiscriminate distribution of food stamps, was complicit in a tragedy. Michael is one of thousands we've known over the years who were enticed away from work and self-sufficiency to despondency and government dependency. The results are, at best, a ding to human dignity, and at worst, a loss of life. Don't get me wrong, the government isn't any more the source of a problem than it is a potential solution. For example, because of the way my state defined employee, Watered Gardens was required to pay workman's comp for every person who worked just 30 minutes to earn a dinner voucher. Well, a legislator changed the definition of employee in a new bill, and nonprofits like mine were relieved of that burden. These are just two examples of the harm and the good that government can bring about. Whether it's bad or beneficial, one thing is certain. Policy has an impact on you and your work. If you've been at it very long, you've probably seen that in very tangible ways. What should we do about bad policy? Well, of course, it's essential to vote. Beyond that, legislators need to hear how effective compassionate relational help is and be encouraged to enact laws that accelerate its success. And you are the best to share that. They also need to hear how bad policy harms more than helps. Stories of how increasing welfare or reducing work requirements for able-bodied adults made it more difficult to inspire people back into the workforce. I've shared many stories with hundreds of lawmakers over the years, often as a witness at legislative hearings. Now that may seem daunting to you, but believe me when I say policymakers need your stories and opinions to avoid passing laws with unintended consequences for the people you serve. So I'm asking you to join me. I want you to consider going beyond the call of your ministry or nonprofit work to be a voice for the greater good in the halls of Congress and at your state capitol. To help you with that, I have 4 takeaways today that will prepare you to testify at legislative hearings. Number 1, be compassionate. If you're like me, you're passionate about this stuff, but be careful. Make sure the compassion you have for people shines through, not your ideology or your politics. Legislators, regardless of their political persuasion, are people who, at some level, understand human frailty. Capitalize on that impulse as you share. Help them feel the compassion you do as you work among the poor. Number 2, be balanced. Keep in mind that when you share a story, you're doing more than just sharing a story. You're connecting it to the issue that a bill is attempting to address. Clearly connect the two. For instance, present data that ties your story to the greater problem that legislators are trying to solve. Number 3, be prepared. The committees I've testified before always had a mix of opinions ranging from the far right to the far left. That means you may get questions from policymakers who oppose your views. Consider what they might say ahead of time and how to respond. Also, come up with 1 to 3 questions you'd like to be asked and give them to the legislator who asked you to testify. Number 4, be bold. Sharing a testimony before a legislative body is a unique opportunity to share the good you're doing and the heart God has for the people you serve. Deliver it boldly and without apology. Don't shy away from sharing how faith has impacted your journey or how unjust charity does more harm than good. If you'd like to receive more training, don't hesitate to reach out to me or anyone on the True Charity team. We would love to serve you as you add your voice to the growing nationwide movement of true charity. That's it for now. Let's go out there, fight poverty, and win.